Right, hey everyone, how's it going? All right, let's get this thing started here. I know we got some other people coming in here. Maybe if I can we enable screen sharing in chat also? Okay, so
Yes, it says one participant can share at a time.
perfect. Yeah, it says host disabled screen sharing. Okay, I know how to fix that. Give me a second here. All right, more, or maybe not. Is there any way you can make me the host or
It
co-host?
says,
Because right now I'm not a host.
um,
So, can you make me a co-host?
okay, so you have, I am a Google Meet person. I've always been the attendee. So advanced sharing options. Who can share? You want me to just change it to all participants?
Yeah,
And then who can share when someone else is sharing? Just only
one at a time. Yeah, that would be good.
does that work?
Let's check it out. Yep, looks like it works. Okay,
Okay.
I'm go to advanced. No, okay, and I want to share sound. Okay, all right. Let's see if this works. Here we go. All right. Everybody can see a slide deck up there. Give me a thumbs up if you see a slide deck. Beautiful. So many great things. I just got out of a nature journaling session, and that was super fun about how to draw and get kids to connect with the outside world. And so, scale of 1 to 10, how's everybody doing today? 10 if you're like, I'm ready for this. 1 is, what session is this again? Great. All right. Awesome. Awesome. I was going to play some music as people were walking in. Okay. Sounds good. All right. All right. My name is Justin Cottrell, and I'm a health teacher here at Aragon High School. And one of the things that I really like about this is just, again, what Rushton said in his keynote this morning about adapting what we do in all sorts of cool ways in order for, cool things to happen with our kids, right? And so this presentation I'm giving is really the first time that I've done an assignment that's like this. But I know we've had all instances in our teaching careers where we've taken what we've gotten from the students and basically threw out what we were going to plan and decide that this was what we were going to give them anyway, because we felt like this was something that they could use and that they would come away with and remember, hopefully, and be able to use. I teach a lot of different topics in health. We cover, sex, drugs, not rock and roll. I was a music teacher. Just real quick before we get into what we're doing today, I just give you a little bit of background. I started in health mainly because at the high school I started at in Pacifica, which is right a block from where I live, right here. It was my alma mater too. They did not have a music program, so I started that way back in 1999. And I was given health as a way to fill out my schedule, but I realized how much health can have such an impact with being able to use the stuff that you talk about every day, and finding your best self. And one of the things I love about teaching health is that connection that you can make with kids. The pandemic has not made things any easier, as we know, and we've had to work a lot harder to be able to get there. And so, I feel like with health, though, it is a way for us to be able to get kids to take inventory of where they're at and where, they want to be able to set goals and be able to connect. Most people think of health as just, eating right and exercising and things like that, but it is so much more than that. It's about getting support, finding ways, a support network of adults you can get, you can seek out and get additional perspective from. It's about, where you're at emotionally. Like social emotional health is such a big buzzword right now, and it is a important thing to address. The class that I teach gives us that space every day for the kids to be able to try these strategies out and really practice their social skills and their check in with their emotional selves, and also be able to share what their experiences are right now. I've taught health to mostly freshmen, okay, because they usually fill that semester class with history or something else. But I've also taught it to juniors and seniors, and I really like the dynamics between each set of kids because you have a lot of unique conversations. I mean, juniors and seniors have so much more to bring to this. I mean, and from the time I started, we had to stretch a lot of times and find ways to be able to, add more to the curriculum. And then now that I've taught it over 20 years, we don't really have enough time to fit everything in there. So it's like, what is most essential? But you didn't come here to like listen to what I'm doing. You came here to find out how to make things happen for your classroom. So let's get to that. Okay. So we are going to get to the importance of self-care. You hear about that a lot. Why create a toolkit or have your students create a toolkit and have them share it? I'll share some resources with you, and we'll take a look at some sample student work and see what you notice about it. And then I'll finally wrap up with what I've learned here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this into presentation mode here, folks. Okay, so for a minute though, I want you to think of an activity or a strategy that you might have used to connect with your students or have them connect with each other. I mean, there's so many different great ideas, and just go ahead and put it into the chat over the next minute or so, or you can unmute yourselves. But just think of these two questions right here. What's an activity or strategy you might have used in the classroom, and what are 3 activities you as have used to be able to cope with distance learning yourselves? So I'll give you a minute or so to kind of think of some things to write down. You can write down on your piece of scratch paper, or go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'll check in with you in about a minute here. Okay, so already, we have a couple of great strategies here, and you can go ahead and feel free to add that in. Is there anybody else who wants to just share verbally? You can as well. It's great to hear voices in the room.
I'll go ahead and share. So my students have moderate to severe special needs, so some of them are non-readers and non-writers. So I have them use different tools, whether it may even be a support staff person hand over hand, but I have them do some sort of drawing activity of them doing one of their favorite activities, or sharing with me like their favorite colors and that sort of thing, which is helpful for me to have tools that might be motivators. So for an example, I have one student that Curious George and Snoopy are his thing. So we set that up as a token economy for him. You complete, we're working up to now up to 3 activities. So you do 3 academic activities, then you can watch a 2-minute video, or you can do a coloring page or something like that.
Yeah, that's great. No, thank you for sharing that, Lisa Marie. That's great. Awesome. So thank you very much. All great activities, and I'm seeing that in the chat as well, like with anything from discussing with Pear Deck, mental health check-in. I love those things of being able to have them drag their slider, how they're feeling that day. It gives a sense for the teacher being able to read the room a little bit and see, and I just some simple too, like just asking them, kind of scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? Throw it in the chat, and see where they're at. And, you get the kids sometimes with like a 4 or 2, but I'll ask them like, where are you at in class right now? Are you ready to proceed with what we've got? Or, just those little check-ins every so often are great too. Camera off to move around during some meetings is one way that this teachers cope with distance learning. Thank you for that. Yeah. So creating an art piece, drawing or video of them doing their favorite activity. Yep. 3 activities that uses a teacher to cope is through making music, making art, playing games with family. Yeah. All that stuff is really great bonding, and totally hanging out after class in breakout room. Myself, I continue to have a daily routine. That's good. Yeah. So, it's really getting students to think about what it is that they do, and maybe even providing some of those things just to start it off as a way in the chat to think about that. What I do is I kind of get them to start off, just talking with each other about that in the chat, or unmuting themselves. It's a great way to get things started, because it's a good way to get them thinking about, okay, what is it I'm doing? Or maybe if they don't have something, they might hear something from somebody else. And that's one of the beautiful things about this assignment, is that once they start presenting, they're actually really excited. They can't wait to share what they have with each other, and then they give each other compliments in the chat box, like, "Oh wow, you bake cookies, that's awesome, that looks so good, was that yours?" And some kids are like, "Well, no, I got this from the internet," but some kids are like, "Yeah, I did make this actually." And so it's really great for them to kind of get that, and it's exciting for you as a teacher, because you're connecting with them sort of in a personal way on what they like to share. It kind of helps build that classroom culture as well. So real quick, some of our students that were surveyed last semester, and this is one of the reasons why self-care is important, because even though we're going out of our way to help our students with, coping with distance learning, and also just being at home a lot, being in quarantine. It was really intense watching that nature journaling with some of the samples of student work that they presented from the fires and things like that. Just super emotional and super intense. 40% of our surveyed district students in San Mateo County have reported a sense of belonging at their school. And so that's a very low number. So even though it's we're doing everything we can, the majority of our students still do not feel connected to school. And the Zoom fatigue is real. And but the other thing too, that as I was going through last semester, experts in sustained trauma really report that self-care is an important tool in coping. And so what I did initially was I did make a video for them as a way to kind of get them thinking about, and I did use Spark to do this. So this was just something that I put together as a way to try and get them to understand that we're all in this sustained trauma together, and it's a way for us to be able to understand, that what they're feeling is okay, and just, getting them to really be in touch with that and understand that this is that them needing support is perfectly normal for kids, whether we're in a pandemic or not, and that they need to, seek out trusted adults that they can talk to. So I'll play this. This is only a minute. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound. We are in the final weeks of the fall semester, and it is clear that we are in need of some inspiration. Many of us are struggling to find the energy to keep up with our responsibilities. According to a professor who studies sustained trauma at the University of Toronto, it's important for us to recognize as learners that this feeling is normal, and this rut will pass once again, and we will only have the energy if we can take time to care for ourselves. Make sure you take an honest look at what you can do that makes you happy, whether that's getting time away from the screen, creating something you love, connecting with friends or family, or anything to shift your mindset and change your perspective in a positive way. It's all about self-care. We cannot be there for each other if we can't take care of ourselves first. And if you've already tried some of these things and you're still overwhelmed, know that we are all here for you. Remember, you're here right now, and your best is good enough. Okay? So let's finish strong. You can do this, and we can help. So I was just trying to find a way to get them to understand that what we're all feeling is common here, and it's just a way for them to understand, if there's any way we can reach out to each other and connect with each other, that would be best, so that we can find a way to help one another and help support each other through this time. Because we were in it a lot longer. Almost a year being at home is it does. Your whole high school experience, imagine that, it's something that we as adults can't possibly fathom, because they're doing all this stuff from their bed, right? Their whole high school experience. We've taken away all the other stuff, sports, drama, music, art shows, all these extracurricular activities, and they're doing all of this stuff from their bed, literally. Most of our kids are. Or maybe they're caring for a family member right? Or maybe they're, making sure that their siblings are also on Zoom at the same time they have to be on Zoom. It's like first year college students going through this, where they have all this autonomy. We're asking all of our students to be on this as well, and it's a big ask, right? It's a huge ask of our high school kids. So I'm gonna skip. Sorry. I listen to this podcast called Teacher Saves World. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's a husband and wife. They're a couple of English teachers, and they were talking about grading in a pandemic. There's other episodes that like really kind of tapped into how I was feeling about things and trying to find ways how I can be more compassionate to my students and find ways to connect. And I saw this tweet about deciding to dump my regular curriculum. And, again, this is an English teacher. And basically she's saying they're going to develop a self-care plan, yoga, breathwork. I thought, wow, this is a fantastic idea. And so that got me to create this idea where they take a Google slide and they basically share what are some images or what are some activities that they like to do to be able to, like, what is their go-to with coping in this situation that we're in, right? So, and they could provide examples. And so they would present this to each other in the class as part of a final. Instead of us doing, our standard health final, they would do something where they're sharing something that they're passionate about and maybe inspiring somebody else to try it. And what I liked about it was, again, I'm trying to get them to be able to apply the skills they use in health every day. Well, now they have a toolkit. So if they really need to go to something that is inspirational, or maybe they have a friend who's really down on what's going on, they can share some of these ideas with them. Well, this is what I do, and so I felt like this is something that they could take with them and be able to use. Looking at why we have self-care toolkits, again, we're in this situation right now where clearly students are in need of connection and sharing, right? So, and also it helps you as an instructor be able to gain some additional insight with your students, and then that inspirational piece of being able to get them to maybe try something new. Maybe they find something that's like, oh wow, I haven't thought about that. So, and getting that new experience, right? So, what I did at first, and so we're going to take a look at a couple of examples here. But I like to model a lot of things for them just because it's a lot easier to paint the picture if you have some, some modeling things of what you'd like them to think about with this. Okay. And so what I do is I basically have I do like to make a lot of screencasts for students because I find that they can access it outside of class and it makes it super easy for them. So I created a model of what I had for my slides, and hopefully you can see that there, this video here of modeling self-care toolkit. So as you can see, I had basically what I do for 4 different things, and I basically gave them this template from Slides Mania. Hey folks, let me turn it down a little bit. Sorry, so loud. Okay, so ideas here, but what's cool about this allows me to be able to post some things here and then post some playlists on the side. So as you can see from the ones I had here, you didn't have to include a quote. I did include one just because that's something that helps shift my thinking into something positive. And so that was the source where I got these quotes from. They have a top 100 inspirational quotes that have been fact-checked by Forbes magazine. And then as far as like exercise routines, that's something that helps me de-stress and get in a better mindset. Cooking, that's something that helps de-stress me a little bit. I love comfort foods. So that's a couple of dishes that I made recently. And then games, Monopoly, Stranger Things, that's something we love playing in our house quite often because we love the show. Okay, so hope this helps. Let me know. Thanks. Yeah, so I tried to keep it very short, or I try to keep my screencast very short because many of these students are on, fed on a diet of TikTok, where TikTok is very, very short. So it's, if you keep it under a minute, that's probably the best. But I do like to,
Sadly,
Go ahead.
TikTok's getting longer. I've seen 3-minute TikTok videos now.
Wow. Wow. Thanks for sharing, Sarah. Yeah, I know but the TikTok thing is real. So it's like trying to get them the most key information that you can in under a minute. Like, I feel like it's a skill that I'm still working on, but it's something that I feel like is vital to getting them what they need to know. And I usually tell them, like, if it's over 2 minutes, I'm like, sorry, it's 3 minutes, or sorry, it's 4 minutes. But I got a really nice note from a student the other day just saying, thank you for making all the videos, because it really helps us stay, on the same page. So again, if you haven't used Screencastify or Loom, I definitely recommend it, especially like if you're getting a lot of the same questions, which is why I started making those screencasts, because I was getting a lot of the same questions. I was like, I'm just going to put up a video, and then that can, answer a lot of questions kids have. So anyway, so I gave them this model, and I also gave them a template for the slide deck. Yeah, I can share it. Sure. Let me get this out here. I thought it was on the Sketch site, but I'll be happy to share it. Yeah. Sorry. So, okay, there we go. So that's a link to my slide deck there if you didn't get it originally. Okay, so getting back into this real quick, the calming websites. Okay, this was something I got from the California PE and Health Teachers professional group. I was on their YouTube channel, and they were talking about these calming websites, which I had heard about. And so the images for the links, you can check these out for a minute. But basically, I'm just going to pull this one up here. What do you notice about some of these activities here that you see? They have relaxation, there's sounds and music, there's mindfulness activities, coloring, creativity, smartphone apps, texting and hotlines. So I'm assuming this is for like support, I use a lot of these. Anybody use visual relaxation in their classroom, like meditations, guided meditation? Yeah, I love those. And then like playlists. I'm actually thinking about next week, because my daughter's actually the Spotify expert. I'm not, because I'm an Apple Music person, a little old fashioned. But I actually I want to create class like Spotify lists that they can collaborate and they can be able to contribute music to. So that when I play music, because I like playing music, like I had Prince set up for people to come in. I like playing fun music, just a way to kind of get them going, and they walk in the room, and then basically, we make it kind of like a party. What I like to do at the beginning of class is like, hey, I do the scale of 1 to 10, but if somebody says something, or somebody says something in the chat, that's great. I got this from a guest speaker about being able to say like, hey, can I get a quick boom in the chat? And kids love lighting up that chat box with booms and all kinds of different streaks, all kinds of different things. So anyway, but I like showing them this just as a way to like get them to think outside the box a little bit, and think about what are some things they really enjoy doing. Like you usually get kids to say things like, well, I do like playing video games because they calm me down. And I got a lot of those this time from the student submissions. You can see it on my slide deck. We'll look at a couple of these. But what's great about this is there's a lot of cool different activities. But one thing I like about this, and I'll share this in the chat as well, is this site called GridX that kind of gives a template for students to be able to start using their self-care toolkits as well. So this one here, okay, the self-care toolkit. So you can kind of go through and see what what you gravitate to. And once you have things like this one here, like, unfriend, unfollow, right? So they have like a little description here that you can edit, and just one sentence, have the students come up with one sentence just to give them a little bit of talking point when they're creating their self-care kit, right? I like to check my list and, unfollow things that do not make me happy, right? Anymore, right? Because, let's face it, like sometimes Facebook is just not a great place to be anymore, right? So, but then what it does is it creates a actual mock toolkit that they can use, or if they actually want to use this as part of their slide deck, they could save it to a PDF, and then it'll download a sample file for them where they can have kind of a running list of things that they can use to build their Google slide with, So this GridX one is really good. I don't know. What do you all see with these common websites? Could you see yourself kind of sharing this as like another mode of inspiration for your students? Like, what do you think? What do you notice about these? Go ahead and tell me in the chat if you'd like. They have like different nature cams too. Like that was another thing about nature journaling is just showing a image of like a jellyfish cam, which is really fun, and be able to just be kind of zone out to a little bit and come up with some ideas, right? And share with their, yeah, that's great. Thank you. Helpful for students to do these in their homes. So another thing too is they can just go look around their homes and see, is there a special place that they like to be able to calm down to, right? Just taking your mind off of that a little bit, and sometimes not doing something is really good, for our souls too, right? We always talk about time away from the screen. So just thinking about, getting them to think about what are some things that are lists. Now, I didn't use this as a resource, but I did notice this from a class I had where this video by Dean Stokes on how to design beautiful presentations is a really great quick video to show students techniques on how they can make their Google Slides a little bit better. So like,
on the right hand side here, I can do a search for space, find an image that I like, and click on it and choose insert. Okay, so there's my slide, but I want to make it look good. So I'm going to click on the Explore button in the bottom right here, and Explore gives me lots of different designs I could use, and I choose one I like just by clicking. So let's try and create another slide here.
So just like little tips like that too, really help students be able to come up with, ways that they can kind of spice up their slides. And I wish I would have used this, and I'm probably going to use this again when I do this assignment again. With my students, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do it as a final. I might do it during our emotional health unit, but what's great about an activity like this is that you can adapt it if you're just thinking about like just taking a break from what your curriculum is and adapting it for your current curriculum. Just getting them to find creative ways that they can share how they have coped in the pandemic and things that they've done to be able to help shift their thinking and get back into a positive space is really, I think it could be adaptable for just about any classroom. And, with little kids, you might just have them take, maybe draw a picture or a sketch or, have them take a picture of what they like to do, right? It doesn't have, I chose a minimum of 3 activities for my students, right, that they needed to share. But I had students sharing a few more things or, again, but for littles, you could do like elementary kids, you could do like 1 or 2 things of their favorite things that they like, right? And then, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Jellyfish Camp is rocking. There's so many good things on these common websites because one of the other ideas I had too was being able to try and have a class contribute what they like and then build a website from that. And then share that with your community, right? Like, here's what the health, like I was thinking, here's what the health classes came up with on some ways to cope in the pandemic. And we hope it'll help our community, right? By building a quick little Google site that has some strategies that they use, right? Maybe even some of your best students' videos that they put together. But at the time I was doing this, it was right around finals. And I just wanted something that was, that they could have a few class periods to work on, something quick and easy. Let me share it again. Sorry, folks. I did have it on the sketch, I thought. So let me just get to that real quick and I'll share it. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. So let me just, sorry. Yep. Okay. So I'll do it one more time here. Here it is. Okay. So I don't have a tiny URL or whatever it is, but that's the link to this presentation here. Okay, yeah, so when you go to the sketch, your Sketch, it should have a presentation link. I did click on it before, so it should be there. Thank you, Lisa Marie, for sharing that with everybody and letting us know that it's on Sketch. Okay, I'm going to move to the next slide here because I know we're getting kind of short on time. What I did was, and this is in the slide deck here, I shared this student instruction slide deck. And so I had also like dates and times for finals, but basically I was trying to give them some student choice in the sense that, basically it was 3 specific activities, but at the same time, I gave them a couple of options because I know there's some students who aren't comfortable presenting, in front of other students. So the first option was, you just basically share it with me in the chat and I'll screen share it. Or, if you turn it in advance, I could bring it up to, no worries, that's fine. Being able to the other thing I did was being able to you'll see on the examples that I have, I made like a class slide deck. Okay, so the class slide deck was like what I used. And that way it was just easier. We didn't have to worry about taking up time with screen sharing and stuff like that. Or at the very last minute, if a kid didn't have something ready, I would be like, can you share it with me in the chat? And they would share it with me in the chat, and then I would pull it up. The other option I had, and this kind of helps also, is, if they are, okay with doing something pre-recorded, they could do a screencast where they have their Google slide presentation up, and all they need to do is talk about, kind of like I did, but, just talk about what their activities were for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, right? I did say 1 minute minimum, but any kind of, them discussing it and then just being able to play that for other students at, presentation day or whatever it is. That's always good. Some other ideas, if you have some students who are not exactly comfortable, right? If you're creating, you're arranging them in breakout rooms, or you have like them meet in the same breakout room, maybe they can present to each other initially and give each other feedback as like a warm up before they actually present it to other students. And they can get that feedback, that authentic experience of being able to present to a smaller group. I've done that with this week, actually, with my students to wrap up our units. I've had them create slide decks of what terms were most important that they got from the lesson, and then they presented to a smaller group, and they gave each other feedback by using we use Canvas at our high school, so it's the idea of using a peer review, the feature in Canvas, and so I taught them kind of how to do that. But it was actually a really good way for them to they felt, most of them when I pulled them felt really comfortable presenting to each other, and even the ones that were kind of shy, like I have a lot of freshmen who are shy, being able to get that experience to present to each other in a smaller group may actually work out differently. So there's a lot of different variables you can use. Again, these were the resources I shared with them, and we went over it. I gave them roughly about 2 periods to work on it, like 2 block periods to work on it. And, again, just giving them, that space to be able to do it. I really like modeling for them, and I like giving them class time to do these kinds of projects, just because many students do have a question. They're going to ask you in the chat. They're going to, check in with you. That I've had students share their presentation with me to get feedback in class. Like, can you take a look at this and let me know what you think? And then I would private message them back, or, whatever. So these are some things that I, tried to do when I had them create their toolkits. So just so you know, some of these images are not Creative Commons licensed. So, but it was kind of this thing where at the end of the year, I just wanted them to share what was on their mind. And this semester, I'm doing a lot more with citations and getting them to understand why it's important to be able to cite and give credit to images that were not theirs. So, I've worked that into my curriculum from the beginning. Like I said, Rushton Hurley's tips on using images. And if you have a chance, check out his 2-slide presentation. That is a great way to be able to get things done with a quick way for them to share and talk about a photo that resonates with them, and being able to provide a citation. That's a good assignment as well. So So we'll take a look. We'll take a look at some student work. Is that cool? Okay, so taking a look at some student work. So this is just basically an adaptation of my template, but so some students actually did this when they had their final slide deck. They would have a link to the slides itself, and then they would have a link to the screencast. So these are all live links, and gotten permission from them to be able to share this. So some get really detailed with what it was. Others just tried to put it all on one slide, right? And then they had a link to their screencast. So some actually presented both. Others did stuff like, just sharing as they discussed it, kind of like I did in my little sample video, and then played some music that they had. And it was great because a lot of kids would, just kind of throw little comments back in the chat like, oh, I love Anthony Ramos, or, they would kind of tap into their fandom a little bit with things, which is really fun. And some of these were just pretty straightforward. Some shared their Spotify playlists, which was fun to see, and they'd play like a clip from it. And so these were some items from 7th period from one of my classes last fall. So this is one that had a link to the presentation here. So just to give you an idea, this is what one of my students came up with.
This is my self-care kit by me. These are the things I do when I'm stressed. I play games such as Minecraft, Among Us, and Roblox. I watch movies such as Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. And then I listen to music such as This Is Me from The Greatest Showman and Dreaming of You by Selena.
Yeah, so just, some just narrated things that were really, straightforward, and kids, appreciated hearing what they had, or they would say, oh, I love Selena, like the Netflix show came out about a month or two ago, and there were some kids really watching that and connecting with that. Some like I remember this, I think it was this student said this is what they used to be able to kind of study with. I think this is the song. Let's see. Of course, ads. Okay. So a lot of kids did this too, where they would share like these lo-fi beats that would have, or just kind of calm music, and we'd play like a little clip and get them to see. And someone would be like, oh yeah, I listen to that too, or somebody like, wow, that's really, really cool piano music, or something like that. And so again, just exciting for them. Like they were excited to share stuff with me, and also, it was fun for them, fun for me to see what gives some insight into what these kids are all about, and also just fun for them to be able to share. They couldn't wait to share with each other. Here's one that a student of mine created in one of my classes as well, talking about how she is coping. And so it's a little more on the, here's a video narrative side. And so this is kind of like a really exceptional piece here, I think. But let me know what you notice in this.
Hi, I'm Matt, and this is my self-care toolkit. Finals are stressful, so everyone needs healthy coping mechanisms to help alleviate that stress. It is always okay to wind down and take some time to de-stress. Some ways I like to de-stress are listening and playing music, drawing or writing, and eating a snack and taking a nap. One of my favorite ways to de-stress is music. Music is a form of self-expression for me, and both composing and improv sessions on the piano can help me vent any unwanted feelings. Not just playing music, but listening to it helps me relax and focus as well. I usually listen to OSTs of mixes of songs from video games I like to play. Some really nice ones I listen to on repeat are Golden Deer and Crescent Moon from Fire Emblem Three Houses, Zelda and Chill, which is a Legend of Zelda song mix, and Japanese indie rock playlists that I can find on YouTube. I would play them, but they're all copyrighted, so the audio would be cut out if I did. Another way I like to de-stress away from the buzzing brightness of electronics is through art and writing. Being able to freely doodle in pictures in my head and thoughts in my mind helps me clear and channel my pent-up feelings out of my system. or being able to write whatever is on my mind through short stories. If I ever feel down, I like to build little false realities in other worlds to cheer myself up. World building and contemplating realities is always a fun activity. The last way I like to de-stress myself is sleeping and eating something. Sleep deficit can have major consequences on mental and physical health. Lack of sleep can lead to error in judgment and reaction time, which will cause one to perform worse in school. With the stress of finals, it is important to get the required amount of sleep, which is 8 to 9 hours for teenagers. Proper nutrition is necessary for your body to function properly as well. Your body needs a total of 20 different minerals in order to stay healthy and a variety of nutrients. Working on an empty stomach can make it hard for one to focus and can make one feel disgruntled or upset. That's my self-care toolkit.
So one of the things about this video is you saw the other screencast I played, which, that the young woman in that screencast was expressing what was on her mind and showing what was on the slide. And then you get a video like this and it's like, you have one of those moments as a teacher where you're like, you get something that's way beyond what you were expecting to get. And so how do you use that as a source of inspiration of things for kids to be able to, level up to, or, is there a way that we can kind of bring in some of the techniques that she used? Like, I almost want to ask her to come back and give a little guest session on how she made that video, because I feel like that would be inspirational for some of the kids, especially the ones who really like making videos, to see what they could do to be able to create something that really pulls you in. One of the things I really liked about hers was just being able to like the way she incorporated some of the things about sleep deficit, some things we talked about in the semester as well. What any thoughts about a video like this when you see something like this? Have you ever had anything in your career where a student gives you something that's just way beyond what you were expecting?
I was just really impressed, and that's probably something you would have not known about that particular student by just a simple writing activity or reading a passage in a classroom. That was just mind-blowing. And I like you're saying, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, can you share the student's information so that she can do a tutorial video to share with the rest of us on how, how far these students can go with such a simple project. And I can see how even my students with moderate to severe special needs, English language learners, and et cetera, how simplified this is, that they can share with their peers, but it kept simple so that they weren't so overwhelmed by such a big project.
Yeah, no, thank you for expressing that. Any other thoughts? Yeah, I'm just reading back in the chat here. Thank you. No, I mean, and that's the thing I love about this assignment is you can adapt it in so many different ways. You can bring it down to its very essence with like one image, right? Or you can bring it into something else where you have something as involved as this. And as just reading back in the chat, Joey says, I love how she shared the process, not just the end result. And that's one of the things I learned from this is explaining your process and what you're going through is something that is even more rich than just talking about or saying like, oh, I listen to music, right? What are some other things that you're doing? Like, she went pretty far in depth in terms of not just what kind of music she likes, but what kind of music she was doing or playing. I mean, what's funny about this kid is, when I asked her what she wants to do for a living, she wants to be in pre-med. She wants to be a med student. So it's like, wow, the creativity that she has, she's going to go far, because I was a music guy. So it's like, being able to take the creativity, the skills that you get from artistic ability to be able to express yourself helps you in so many other ways indirectly, right? Even if you're not a musician, even if you're not a filmmaker or an artist, it's like going to help you in so many other ways with project management. So yeah, exactly. Thank you for expressing that as well, Amy. I think this example speaks to the power of student choice. Yeah, and I feel like we need assignments where we can bring in that power of student voice or student choice of what it is that they bring to the table, and that also builds culture or keeps that culture established. Because again, being able to share what they're passionate about is something that can really get them to bond and get them to really establish that culture, and build on it as well. So one of the things, if you looked at the examples, not all of the presentations were like what I would consider like some, like this one that I'm not going to go back, but there was this one where like you couldn't even read the text because of the photo, like kind of, drowned out the text a little bit. So as far as like norms for presentations, that would be something that I would focus on this time. And has anybody ever done this Edu protocol with the worst prezzo ever? Anybody ever heard of that? Okay, I'll play a little bit of this, but what it is basically you have a group of students actually learn how to make good presentations by breaking all of the rules. So this video here discusses it. John Caripo, who makes the Edu Protocol book with Marlena Hayburn, it's an awesome way to go ahead and get started. He's got a whole website where you can do these things called Smart Starts. But the Edu Protocol is the worst prezzo ever. I've gotten so much feedback from doing that this semester where kids just enjoyed making putting too many images on one thing, or making different color fonts and different color text against backgrounds that clash. Kids are like, oh my gosh, my eyes, right? They're having so much fun just learning how to make good presentations by breaking all the rules. It's a really cool lesson. Since we only got 5 minutes, I probably won't play it, but you should check it out. It's really, really fun. Anyway, and if you want to connect with me, you can message me. Here's some more stuff that I've been doing with Rushton and Merritt with that group. It's a super fun time. If you are looking to kind of, extend what you're doing here with the classroom, and I know our time is kind of short, and I know we have Zoom fatigue. I actually joined this before the pandemic because I was kind of hitting a rut at my school that I taught at, and I'm going, okay, I need to find some way to push myself, and Merritt actually got me to push myself. It is a fantastic program. They actually, if you get in, they actually, you apply and get in, they actually pay you to be a part of it as well as part of professional development. So, thank you, Lisa Marie, for assisting me today. The link to the survey is there, and it's also on this slide as well. My name is Justin Cottrell, and I appreciate you giving me this time to be able to share with you. And, thank you very much. I hope you have a good rest of your day at the conference. And, please feel free to contact me or, ask me any questions. Thank you so much. I'll give you some time to be able to complete the session survey. Does anybody have any questions at this point that I haven't gotten to? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's great to see so many participants here, and hopefully you can find some ideas that you can use to build into your classroom and improve or gain that, cultural sharing and bonding that we need so much at this time, right, with our students, and our students feel like it's a safe and welcoming place to come to in your classroom. I thank you so much. This is great. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll see some of you at lunch coming up. Yeah, the session's going to end, I guess, in a couple of minutes. So I'll see you in the tasting room. But thank you again for coming by and letting me share my ideas with you. Hopefully it gets you some inspiration. Thank you, Lisa Marie. Thank you. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Sorry.
That is something I work with my students. I even have like a laminated thing, for, to unmute, and I break the rules all the time. So it was really a pleasure to watch your presentation. And my apologies for being late. Had some technical difficulties getting the link to.
No worries at all. No worries at all. We started right on time. So, honestly, this is the first time I've actually been able to share what's going on in my classes. And so it was a really liberating experience. So hopefully I wasn't, let me see if I can throw the survey link in here. I'm sorry. Here, try this. Let's see if this works. Here, try this. Sorry about that, Amanda. Here you go. See if that works. You should be able to see this on the screen. I'm going to stop sharing here. So let me know. Give me a thumbs up that worked out. But yeah, I mean,
it's pretty remarkable to do this kind of session virtually and being able to learn from people just outside of the Napa County. So that's pretty amazing.
no, it's really fun, and it's great to connect with other teachers. I mean, you know, I've been down here mostly on the peninsula, but we've been able to do merit basically for the summer. We did it for 2 weeks, and then we meet a few Saturdays a year to go over stuff. Awesome. No, I'm glad to hear it work. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, no, it's I mean, virtually there's you know, I mean, it would be great to be able to do this in a room, but I actually find it a little easier myself to be able to present from from a virtual space, because I'm not, people don't see me like fuddling with stuff, and you know.
And as
So.
Dr. Nimco, she proposed people call her Barbara at the beginning, said it's kind of nice that you can wear your sweatpants if you want and choose your own lunch and be able
Yeah, the coffee's always good.
like waiting for my husband to come out of his art studio to fill mine up.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, thank you again, Lisa Marie. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Very welcome. Okay.
And yeah, I'll see you in the tasting room, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Is this it? Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.